Howdy, everyone. I hope you're doing well, whenever you are. Am, of course, your host, your future favorite pop star, Landyn Zane. And this, as it will always be, is your favorite podcast, For the Record. Welcome, everybody. It's a new episode, episode 16. We got a Q&A episode for y'all today. Once again, as always, Thursdays are the Q&A episodes. If you want to submit a question or a topic or something for a Q&A episode on Thursday, send me a little dimski, a little DM, a little direct mail message dimski, whatever you want to call it. Send me one on Instagram. Find my Instagram. You're smart. I believe in y'all. Send me a dimski, and you'll give a little shout out, and you'll be a part of the pod. You can make me talk about whatever you want. Within reason. Yeah. But we got questions for today, and I think we got some stuff to talk about today before we dive into the questions. So, what do we got? I saw a TikTok today, or maybe it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday, talking about, it was a throwback, like, retro nostalgia of, like, mid to late 2000s. It was the Disney Channel summer commercial of, like, Disney Channel summer, when we're showing this, and then it's like a clip from Hannah Montana, and then this, and then they show like a Phineas and Ferb clip, and it's all the celebrities, like all the Disney Channel stars that are like, and it's gonna be a blast, and it, like, the cheesiest commercials in the world, but they're the best. Like, such hits that nostalgic bone right in, like, feels, and it made me think, like, why doesn't Disney Plus, along with, like, watching the old MTV broadcasts, I don't know why old TV stations and things from people's childhoods, they don't take, like, I don't know why Disney Channel doesn't have this thing called Disney Channel 2009, where they literally find like, a specific date or a week, and they just find, like, what shows played when, what commercials played in between, what music videos, literally, and they make, like, a 24-hour broadcast that is literally, just make it feel like what it felt like to watch Disney Channel in 2009. The commercials, the ads, the music videos, everything. And obviously they can't put in the copyrighted commercials in between, but they could put in, like, the interviews they had and all the music videos they used to play on Disney Channel, like, throw some Ali and AJ in there, and then chop it up with, like, a full episode of Hannah Montana. And then next after that, they just do, like, literally take the schedule of what was played on Disney Channel one day or for a week or however long, and make a full-blown broadcast that people can just click and put in the background and feel like they're in 2009 or 8 or whatever year of watching Disney Channel when they were kids. Same with MTV. Like, if they did that with MTV with the interviews and the music videos, and they took it and made it exactly like it, I would pay so much. I would subscribe to that just to feel like I'm in the 80s and watch the music videos. Same with Disney Channel. Like, I don't know why these companies don't do this. Instead, they want to make a TV show that 7 people are going to watch, and they're going to rip off the streaming service, and they're going to write it off. I don't know why they're not investing in things that people actually want. Like, I guarantee you, if I called everyone that I grew up with when we were watching Disney Channel and stuff, and asked them if they wanted this, every one of them would say yes. Everyone. Like, even watching the commercials, the fact that I would sit and watch a commercial from 2009 just to feel the nostalgia of what it was like when I was 6 or 7 years old, and to put myself back in that mindset, the fact that I would do that is insane. And the fact that no companies want to even, like, go in on that or try that is ridiculous to me. But that's what that TikTok really spawned in me. Or, like, the best era for me, my favorite era was the Teen Beach Movie era. Teen Beach Movie. Oh my gosh, Maya Mitchell. I was in love with Maya Mitchell. I was like, I don't know, when that movie came out, 2013? I was in love with her. Teen Beach Movie. When it was 2013. Yeah, I was in love with her. And I was like, in 2013 I would have been 10. I was like head over heels. I was like, and I wanted that to be my life. Like, I wake up one day, I'm in a musical, and this girl that I have a crush on that doesn't want anything to do with me, and then we like sing together and we fall in love, and it's this whole big thing. Let me tell you, that didn't happen. didn't remotely happen, but I was sitting in my bedroom staring in the mirror, like popping my shoulders with the leather jacket, like, don't stop, stop the music. We ride fast like a bullet. We'll do anything we want, anytime we want. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We just ride, ride, ride all day. We're not gonna live in any. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I still remember those lyrics. And I think I could keep going, but I'm not going to. Like, I don't know how I got on the Teen Beach Movie tangent, but like that movie and then oh my gosh, and the sequel, I loved those movies so much. That was like on loop, and I thought it was I wasn't into music back then, so I thought the Teen Beach Movie soundtrack was the greatest album ever made. I thought it was peak music ever. I literally was like, there's nothing better than this in music history. I loved it so much. Man, but bring back the Disney Channel, the vibes of Disney Channel back then, because now it feels very sterile, and it feels very calculated. Back then, they were just making whatever the hell they wanted. And, oh man, yeah, I missed Disney Channel when I was a kid. And it probably, honestly, the kids nowadays are probably going to say that too in the future, but that's what nostalgia does to you. Nostalgia is missing things that didn't really exist from your past. That's what it is. And let me tell you, that's one of those things that where I'm like, yeah, I am missing it. That coffee tastes like somebody took a shit in it. Yeah, I don't know why. Why does it? I don't know what's wrong with it. It tastes like there's chemicals in it. I don't know. I'm still going to drink it, though. If I die during this podcast, whoever finds this, please release it, because it will be the most viewed video I ever put on YouTube and all my other podcast things and social media. Anyways, what's next? Oh, I've started working out again. I think I talked about this last week on last week's podcast, where I got my gym membership again. Not again. I got a gym membership finally for being in LA, and I'm running there because it's like 0.8 miles away. It's kicking my fucking ass, guys. I can't remember the last time my body was this sore from workouts. I mean, granted, I have gone from running never, even when I was working out when I lived in Iowa and when I lived in Texas, I was never running. And now I'm running, if I go to the gym, almost 2 miles along with the workout. And like, my body is not built for that. I got flat feet. I can't breathe. My lungs are terrible. I think I have asthma. I probably don't, but, you know, I'm kind of a hypochondriac, so you live and you learn, or you don't learn, because I'll just do this for the rest of my life. Anyways, but it's kicking my ass, and I've gotten really weak. Luckily, like, I still look good, which, obviously, I would like to look good and be muscular and be actually physically strong and not have, like, what I always call, like, Hollywood muscles, which Hollywood muscles is, like, muscles in a body that appears fit, but they don't actually do anything, or they don't actually work very well, which is absolutely a thing. And in terms of, like, wanting to appear attractive on social media so people listen to my music more and watch the podcast more, obviously that's an advantage, but I would also like to have muscles that actually help me be healthy. So I'm working on that. But I hate running. Hate it with passion. I fucking hate running. I've never in my life once ever enjoyed running. In my family, every year on Thanksgiving, I see those TikToks of, like, the people are saying, if I ever marry into a family that does a turkey trot on Thanksgiving, I'm getting a divorce. Unfortunately, that is my family. And I hate running. I hate it with a passion. But the tradition of waking up in Texas and, like, running, doing the 5K, I do kind of like it. Even though I hate it. I hate running, but I like the fact that, like, I'm not just being a fat slob on Thanksgiving. I'm, like, getting some exercise in, because then I go freaking balls to the walls. I get balls deep in the mashed potatoes. On Thanksgiving, it's me, my balls, in the mac and cheese and the mashed potatoes. I'm in it. I'm eating every bit of it. I'm going back for seconds. I'm taking a nap. I'm waking up. I'm putting it back in the microwave and getting the seconds and the thirds and making the sandwich that's even better than the actual meal when it first starts. So the turkey trot, I am a fan of the turkey trot, even though I hate the idea of it, and I also don't really like it. But you know what I mean. But even then, I still hated running. I would always walk it because there would always be like, I did it one year with my Nana, and she was like, I ain't fucking running a 5K. She was like, I'll walk. So we walked the 5K together, and I just liked being somewhat active. But now, like, every day I go to work out, I'm also running almost 2 miles with it. I may walk in front of a garbage truck from how much I hate it. But I need the sun. I run without my shirt on. It's really good for me to sweat, and it's helping me get more tan and, like, soak up the sun and the vitamin D, which I am severely deficient in. So, like, it's good for me. And also, like, I need to start taking the health a bit more seriously, just to like get all my shit together and really make sure I'm taking care of myself. Because lately I have not been. Well, actually, we can dive into what I was going to talk about next, anyways. Of like, this is the Thursday episode, and I guess last week was late. It was a Friday episode, but last week's Thursday episode was all about my mental health, and it's been a week. And so, how am I doing now? Kind of meh. I think one big thing I've had to realize is that, like, for most of my life, drinking is like high amount of caffeine with energy drinks and everything has never given me anxiety and everything, because I have such severe ADHD that it doesn't really do anything to me, or it doesn't do the normal things, the caffeine and the energy drinks. So it never really gave me anxiety. And I've always kind of had this baseline level of anxiety, and it was never worse when I would drink caffeine. And then recently, I was, like, banging energy drinks and just getting shit done. And it really started to, like, I started to have the feeling of what it's like to have a panic attack again, which I'm all too familiar with that feeling of, like, the tightness and the shortness of breath and the literally, like, your heart feeling like it's going to explode. So the second that when I would drink energy drinks and the caffeine would kick in, I could feel that. It immediately was making my anxiety worse, obviously. And I've had to realize that I need to stop drinking energy drinks, and I should start cutting out caffeine for largely in general. I say that as there's a cup of coffee, iced coffee, sitting right here, but like I said, it does taste like poison. Oh God, I don't know what it tastes like. Someone like took their wet sock after working out and wrung it into my drink. I don't know why it tastes so bad. Ugh. But so there's that aspect of my mental health of like having to cut out energy drinks, and really I should be cutting out caffeine in general. And then also just like it's that time of year for me, like the seasonal thing that a lot of people go through. I love seasonal. Oh, what is it called? Seasonal anxiety and depression, is that what it's called? Seasonal affective disorder. It's called SAD. I love it being short for SAD. It's my favorite of all the acronyms of like ADHD and all the other ones. SAD is my favorite because it's so well named. Like I've got that. This time of year is generally when it happens, and that's happening for me again. But just like learning to take care of myself, going to the gym has definitely helped. I've also had to start like trying to eat healthier, of like trying to eat probiotics and all this nerdy like healthy shit I don't want to eat. And like I just want to eat cookies and sugar and like not take care of myself. But then like when I feel like shit and I sleep until 11 and I don't get anything done and have no energy, then I'm like, it's not very fun. So I've kind of had to start like actually being an adult and taking care of myself, which is bullshit. It's dumb. I wish I could just do whatever I wanted and not feel the repercussions, even though it's not how life works. What a shame. What else? Yeah, I'm trying slowly but surely trying to get my shit together. And like social media stuff, I don't know. We're going to move on. You've heard enough about that. I'm working on new music. I I have 3 singles out for my most recent batch of songs, which is Whatever Remains, Perfume, and then Searching for You. And so I'm trying to round out those 3 singles with 3 more singles to have another full EP of 6 songs. And I have 3, but there's 2 I'm really, really into working on right now that are like really, really, really good. So I'm really excited for those, and I would like to finish those relatively soon. I would like to have more music out at the latest, the beginning of next month. At the latest, and then I would want the rest of the EP. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll put one of those songs out as a single. And it'll be a single tied with all the other previous singles from this year in the new EP selection. And then those last 2 songs, I'll release both of them at the same time, but tie all 6 songs together in an EP. So there'll be the 4 singles released already, and then there'll be 2 more new songs on the full EP, which I think I've already said the name of on one of the podcast episodes, but I'm not going to reveal it now because, like, something to keep surprising. And I also have some other stuff I'm working on that I'm really excited about for music. So, like, I'm really happy I'm getting in the groove of things, and I'm really trying to get in the groove of songwriting too, because I'm starting to get to the point where, like, I could start thinking about an album, and it's still so far in the future of, like, an album is so much. And it's so... I have a general idea of when I would like to release an album, but it's still so far ahead, and there's still, like... Sebastian always asks me, he's like, so when are you releasing an album? And I always tell him, like, there's no point in releasing an album when you have no audience and no fan base that is going to be there immediately when it comes out. So I need to build this stuff first. I need to build the audience and build the fan base and, like, build a real connection with everyone before I start releasing, like, a full album. Because if there's no one there to listen to the album, then it was just for ego at that point of just making an album. But yeah, I'm really excited about the new music I'm working on. It's like, it feels very me. It feels like it's definitely, especially the 2 songs I'm really into working on right now, they both feel the closest I've come to nailing the sound and the type of music I really want to hone in and start making. And not start making, but make in general in pop. It feels very me, which a lot of... Like, even going back, a lot of the stuff, especially in my early music, a lot of the early stuff I was making, it felt like I was trying on styles from other musicians and seeing what I liked. And now, especially with, like, the 3 songs from this year and the stuff I'm working on now, and even the last EP of Atlas 3, I really feel like I'm starting to get the hang of my own sound and carving out my original ideas for what I want my sound in pop music and music to be, which is really exciting. What else? Oh yeah, in Monday's episode, I said we were going to talk about Brat in today's episode, and I still haven't listened to it. And I know I literally need to. I probably will do it tomorrow. I'm hanging out with Sebastian tomorrow. So, like, somewhere in between working and everything, I'll probably do tomorrow. But, like, Fantano gave it a 10. He gave Brat a 10, which is insane. He hasn't given an album a 10 in 3 years, and he gave Brat a 10. So I really do need to listen to it. And then there's a deluxe version out too, which is think 3 more songs. Yeah, I really need to listen to Brat. I haven't really gotten into Charlie XCX that much, but I know some of the stuff I hear is, like, it's not exactly my kind of music, but it's getting, like, critical acclaim from literally everyone across the board, so I really just need to listen to it. Yeah. All right. I think now is the time we dive into the questions, because it's that time. I don't know what the hell you want from me. It's that time. That's what we're doing next. Yeah. So like I said before, if you want to submit your own questions or topics for the Q&A episodes of the podcast, send me a DM on Instagram. Tell me whatever you want it to be. And if it's good and not stupid, or even if it is stupid, if it's stupid, send me some stupid questions too, because those are funny. I completely forgot to turn this air conditioning off. Pew. Oh, so much quieter. I hope you guys can't hear that in the background, but the power of AI should help me. But what the hell was I saying? Yeah, send me a DM. Whatever questions you want it to be. Make them funny, make them creative, make them whatever you want me to talk about, or something funny or dumb. It's up to you. But we're going to dive in. So, question 1. What's the weirdest or most unexpected source of inspiration you've ever had for a song? So, I mean, it's got to be Whatever Remains. I mean, I wrote Whatever Remains about falling in love with a celebrity who is still a celebrity that I'm like very much I yearn for, of like, oh, I really like this celebrity. I'm not going to say who, but like, they're so talented. And so I wrote it about them as like a goof of like, I needed to get out of like a writing hole of I wasn't really into writing anything. So I was like, fuck it. I had this instrumental that it was pretty loose and pretty free flowing of like, I could write whatever I wanted to this. So I was like, I'll just have fun. I'll write some lyrics about falling in love with a celebrity and us living our life together as celebrities, as pop stars. And it ended up being one of the best songs. It's the most streamed song I've ever made. And it is probably, of the released songs I've ever released, it's probably like objectively my best song. And it's a shitpost of a song about me falling in love with a celebrity, which I love. It makes me laugh. Yeah. Question 2. If you could time travel to any concert in history, which one would you attend and why? I've got a few. I would say the Michael Jackson performance, I think, was it at the Apollo when he first did the moonwalk on TV? Michael Jackson first moonwalk. I think it was when he was on the Apollo. Or it was the Motown 25 celebration. Yeah. They were, because he performed, so it would be that in 1983 when he performed with the Jacksons. It was after Thriller had come out. He performed with his brothers, and then they left, and he stayed on, and he did like Billie Jean and some of the other songs, and he did the moonwalk, and it's like literally the crowd exploded of like they didn't know how to react. So that one, Elton John's premiere in the U.S. at the Troubadour, which is like the performance that started his career. It was his debut performance in America. It like exploded his career. Or Freddie Mercury performing at Live Aid. Freddie Mercury performing for Live Aid. Or that one. And then I might also throw in like an Elvis at the like recording his comeback special. Or the Beatles at Shea Stadium. But really those. Probably Michael Jackson's Moonwalk performance or Elton John's Troubadour performance. It's really those two. Alrighty. Yeah. You got what you wanted. Question 3. How do you deal with creative blocks? I'm still working on that. It gets hard. Sometimes it's like I don't know how to get through them. The good thing for me is creative blocks never come musically. Sometimes I'll feel like when I'm producing beats, like if I'm bored and I don't want to write lyrics or anything, I'll always sit down and produce an instrumental just because it's like playing games for me. It's just fun to sit and fuck around and make whatever I can think of. And I will definitely get in like lulls and low points of feeling like nothing I make is good. And you just have to get through those. But lyrically, sometimes it is really, really hard for me to sit down and write. And then sometimes, like, it comes out like water. And the thing I always think about is Ed Sheeran has songwriting advice of, like, learning to do anything. But his is specifically about songwriting of as like a muddy tap or like a wet. It's like a well tap or something, like outside. Like you turn it, and a bunch of shitty and muddy water comes out, and it's gross water when you first start. But you just have to keep it on, and you have to keep it running and get through all of it. And eventually, every once in a while, you'll get some clear water and some good water, and then you'll get more shitty and muddy water. And after a while, everything will be clear, and you'll still have some like spots of like not good stuff, but after a while of getting through all this shit and the dirty mud, you'll have clear water. And that's how I kind of think about creative blocks, is like, even though I feel like I've gotten through most of the muddy and dirty water and stuff, I'm still hitting some spots sometimes. And I just like, the thing for me is you just have to keep going and you have to get through it. Because like, the thing is, if you don't keep going, you quit. So you have to just assume it's going to start getting better again, of like getting through the muddy water of like the shitty lyrics or the shitty instrumentals I make sometimes, of like, you have to just believe that eventually you'll get to the clear spots again, which I always do. It's really just perseverance of like getting through the low spots of like, this song is shit and everything I've been writing in the past week or two is shit, but just knowing eventually I will get through that. Question 4. If you could guest star on any current TV show, which one would it be and why? Ooh, any current TV show. That's an interesting question. I don't really know. I'm trying to think. I mean, this is kind of a cop-out, but like Jeopardy. I love Jeopardy so much. The way my brain works of like gaining useless knowledge and just being able to remember whatever random ass knowledge I want, it was perfect for Jeopardy. Like the way my brain works and the way that Jeopardy is organized and structured go together very well. So I would say I would like to be a guest on Jeopardy. If it has to be like a fictional TV show, what am I really into right now? Oh, Game of Thrones. Or the House of Dragons. House of Dragons. It would be House of Dragons. Millie Alcott. That's my wife, even though that she's not really in the show anymore because it's the older version of her now. Or even like Olivia Cook, she's beautiful. Or all of like everyone on that show is gorgeous. And then I could have my little dopey ass like stroll in. There's a dragon. There's a dragon over there. He said, "Use Targaryen. Use dragon." I'll do that. And I point, and then I point at his dragon, and it shoots fire at me, and I burn. And that could be my cameo. I wouldn't want to have a big role. It'd be a guest star. So if I had to pick fiction, I'd go that. But I would really just want to go Jeopardy. I'm going to scoot up more. We're getting more serious now. Question 5. What's a movie scene that always gives you goosebumps no matter how many times you've watched it? Goosebumps? If it's Goosebumps, it's got to be like an inspirational movie. Or a movie where, like, against all odds, we won. Like a sports movie, or like Endgame always does that to me. Of like, I mean, oh gosh, no, I don't want to tell that embarrassing of a story on the internet yet. I'll hold on to that one, but Avengers Endgame does that to me. Any moment where like things are so epic, it does that to me. Or on the other flip side of like emotional. So, like, one that always does it for me, and one where I literally, every time I watch it, no matter how many times I watch it, I profusely break down and cry, is About Time. I remember, have I talked about this on the podcast yet? I don't think I have. Or maybe I have. I don't really remember. But I remember when we went to London, we were flying back to London, from London to Texas, I sat next to my sister on it was like an 11-hour flight. And I was watching About Time, and there's a certain scene in the movie that came on, and we were in a full packed flight from London to Dallas. And I was hysterically like bawling. And my sister looks at me and she's like, "You realize we're in public, right? Like we're surrounded by people," and I'm hysterically breaking down crying. And she hadn't seen the movie, so she didn't know why. And then like a few months later, I was like, "You have to watch this movie." I was like, rom-com. She likes rom-coms. I was like, this is my favorite rom-com other than La La Land, which I would argue isn't really a rom-com if you dive deeper into the writing of the movie, but we won't get into that. But I was like, you have to watch this movie. About time. And we sat down and watched it, and like clockwork, that certain scene in the movie came on, and I literally cried for the rest of the movie. And after the movie was over, she just looks at me and goes, you can never watch this movie with someone until you're married. She was frank, as frank as she could be about it. She was like, do not ever watch this movie with someone you're dating or that is your girlfriend. Do not watch it with them until you're married, because they will break up with you. Which made me, obviously it was a joke, but I also think it's kind of true, because I like fully hysterically break down and cry every time during that scene in the movie. And it just made me laugh. So like, of like the epic like sports stuff and Endgame and big action moments, but also like the emotional things of like About Time, or When Harry Met Sally does it for me at the end of that movie. La La Land at the end. La La Land, like, it's my favorite movie for a reason. Front to back, La La Land. I have chills the entire movie. It's incredible. But a lot of those movies. Oh shit, it said movie scene. I didn't answer the question. Well, movie scene, that one scene in About Time that I'm not gonna mention. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, question 6. What's the most memorable concert or live performance you've ever attended? It was this sir right here. This sir, Elton John. My mom got me tickets for my birthday. I was supposed to see Elton John in concert when I was 17 years old, and I was 19 when I saw him perform. Or 20. I was 19 or 20. It took 3 extra years because of COVID and quarantine and all that stuff to be able to actually see him perform. But it was the greatest concert of my life, and I'm actually happy in the long run that I had to wait, because my appreciation in that period of time had like exponentially grown. And I was like actually a musician at that point, like pursuing making music and stuff deeply when I actually saw him perform. And you can ask my mom, like I cried he performed for like 3 hours ish. I cried for 3 hours straight. I like broke down and cried. I literally remember it was like the first half hour of the concert, I was good. I was keeping it together, and I knew it was going to come. And then I can't remember what song it was, because the whole night is really a blur, but it's like a good blur of just like the specific moments. Some of the specific moments I remember, but it's just like one of the happiest moments in my life. There's a fucking bug. Get out of here. But I remember he started singing, It Might Be Someone Saved My Life Tonight. I think that was his first, I think it was that song, because that's my favorite Elton John song. And he started playing that, and I fucking crumbled. I was butter. I just melted. And I remember my mom and I, we wore these glasses, like these Elton John, like plastic, very cheesy Elton John glasses, and we both wore these outfits, and we dressed up. It was the fucking best. And he started playing that, and I was wearing these glasses so she couldn't see my eyes. And we were both vibing, and then I just went blank, and I was just like, I was just standing there, like watching him perform and crying, but like trying not to make it look like I was crying. And my mom looks at me and she goes, or she was here and I was here. She goes, "Are you crying?" And I look at her and I fucking break down. I crumbled, like fully, like, and then from that point on, I cried the rest of the concert. And I remember, like I literally cried the entire concert. And I had, by the end of it, before the encore, I was like, still like, but I wasn't like fully crying. And then I remember he left and we were waiting for the encore, and I remember my mom looks at me, and this was like a cinematic moment. If this needs to be in my movie when they make a movie about my life, if they ever do. My mom looks at me and she goes, "You do realize this is about to be over, right?" And she's like, "Are you okay with that?" And I look at her. And then, like, the second I look at her, like a movie timing, the encore starts and he comes out again, and I literally immediately start breaking down and crying again. And I cry more. And I cried harder from that point on. And I cried literally until we were, like, in the car leaving. Like, I remember my mom looks at me. She was like, it shouldn't be possible you're crying this much. She's like, you're going to die of dehydration. She's like, you've been crying for over 3 hours. And I remembered we bought water and stuff. I slammed those bottles of water and I passed the fuck out. Like 20 minutes after we left the parking garage, I was like, this was the best night of my life. And I was fucking out. If you've never cried for that long period of time, it's so exhausting. But it was a good thing it was happy tears. But yeah, that is like one of the greatest moments of my life is the most memorable concert I've ever been to. Yeah. If you could bring back any TV show, question 7. If you could bring back any TV show that has been canceled, which one would it be and why? I know this answer immediately. So there's a show called Limitless that was based on the movie that had Bradley Cooper. And the TV show was about this, like, slacker loser who got a hold of the drug that was in Limitless. And he started becoming, like, a genius. And Bradley Cooper was in it intermittently. And it was, like, tied to the FBI or the FBI or the CIA. And he was working with the government, but he was, like, doing stuff on the side and had his family, and Bradley Cooper was in it. Limitless was so good. And it ended on such a twist. It was such a phenomenal show. And they canceled it. There was one season, and it's such a good season of television. If I could bring back any show, it would be Limitless. Like, it's such a good concept. It's so fun, and it was so original. And then they canceled it. So it would be that. Question A. What's a classic movie or TV show that you think everyone should watch at least once in their lifetime? So, it depends. What do you define as classic? Classic movie. If it's depending on the time, if it's like old, if it's an old movie, if you want something from the golden age of cinema, the answer is Rebel Without a Cause. Period. Like, it's it. It's Rebel Without a Cause. That or Singing in the Rain. But really, for me, it's Rebel Without a Cause. James Dean is like, in terms of what he did, he died at 24 years old, and he is, to this day, still one of the most iconic actors that have ever lived in Hollywood history. And he died at 24. He made 3 movies. So, like, in terms of his impact on media and pop culture as a whole, he's, in movies, he is the top tier for me. Like, when I have studied him, read all the books about him, everything, and, like, he, like, trying to emulate a lot of the stuff he did, for him it was unknowingly and unconsciously, and also him dying young had a bit of impact on it, which I don't want to do. And then Rebel Without a Cause is just an incredible film. It's such a good, like, it boils down growing up and finding your identity and, like, becoming who you want to be, and, like, dealing with parents and all this stuff. Like, it deals with being a teenager so well. So Rebel Without a Cause. But then if you're like, classic is a lot more looser of a term, then I'll go Good Will Hunting or Miss Doubtfire. 2 Robin Williams movies, obviously. Good Will Hunting is an incredible movie about dealing with everything as an adult and young adult. And Miss Doubtfire is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's incredible. Yeah. So it'd be those. Rebel Without a Cause is probably like the generic, not the generic, but like the base answer of what I would consider classic. Because the 90s weren't that long ago, and I think both of those movies came out in the 90s. So, like, or Good Will Hunting and Miss Doubtfire. So, like, they're not that old. But if you consider them classic movies, like, they're classics in terms of all of cinema. But in terms of being from a classic era, they're not that old. Anyways, I digress. I digress. I don't fucking know. You know my answer at this point. Moving on. Question 9. What's a movie or TV show that made you see the world differently or inspired you to make a change in your life? I've talked about it before. La La Land. If I had to point, other than Elton John, if I had to point to a piece of entertainment and media that made me want to make music in the first place, it's La La Land. seeing Ryan Reynolds playing piano in that movie and wooing Emma Stone, and like the way he talked about jazz and music. I had always been creative, but I'd never thought about making music in that way. And I was already making beats and stuff on my computer, but I'd never really thought about it as like the way he talks about it in that movie. And also that score is incredible. It's the greatest film score of all time. I mean, it's the best movie ever made, so obviously. But all of that coming together really made me want to like learn to play piano and learn music really and get really into making music. So easily La La Land. It's the reason like I always and I can't wait to like actually be able to say this during interviews and stuff of like, if you want to blame somebody for my success, or not for my success, if you want to blame somebody for why I am a musical artist and a creative today, and a musician, you can blame Elton John, and you can blame La La Land. And you can also blame Billy Joel's The Stranger album, because it's my favorite album of all time. But really, it's La La Land and Elton John. And then you could dive deeper of, like, my personality in general, and who shaped my childhood the most, which is Robin Williams. But music specifically, it's La La Land and Elton John. Yeah. Yes. The usual hive. Man. Just like that, folks, we've run out of questions. So, I'm trying to think if I have anything else for you, but I don't really think I do. So, yeah, if you want to be part of the future Q&A episodes, like I said, send me a DM on Instagram, whatever you want me to talk about. Check out my music, check out other episodes of the podcast, check out my music especially. I want to start pushing, go check out my music if you watch all this. Landyn Zane on streaming services. It's like pop music, synth pop. I do all of it. Every aspect of it is me. I really want to know what y'all think about it. And it's really what I got for y'all. So yeah. As always, I have been your future favorite pop star, Landyn Zane. And this, as it will always be, is your favorite podcast for the record. Have a good night.